Nobody indeed. What is good? Welcome into Driving the Line, the Overs, Week 9 edition here, college baseball season. My name is Alan Bell. TJ Parker here. TJ, what's good, brother? You doing all right?
Yeah, man, I'm good as always, man. Happy to
All
get
right.
into week 9 here, right? That's what we're on. Missed the
Yeah,
weekend, it throws you completely off.
dude. And yeah, right. And good to have you back. And, it's crazy to think that, it's April 9th, but the regular season ends around mid-May. Like we're not far away. You know what I mean? Like we're halfway through conference portion of the season. So we're getting there, man. And we're starting to see it. We saw it last week where a lot of really good teams, we're gonna break it down. A lot of really good teams had tough weekends, man. And you see guys that are just tired. Run production has gone down. It's a long season. You know what I mean? So we'll jump into it right now and talk about it. Talk about what happened last week and talk about what we got coming up this week. So let's go ahead and hit on the series that we have coming up this weekend. Right out of the gate, man. Number 5, Tennessee at number 6, Ole Miss. Anybody seeing Ole Miss right now? Because they're up like 6,000 to nothing, and I'm not kidding there. Number 2, Texas at Kentucky. Keep going on the list, man. Louisville, NC State. Number 1, Arkansas. Number 7, Georgia. All right, number 9, Florida State at 25, Virginia Tech. Stanford at Clemson. Wake Forest, not even ranked Wake Forest at North Carolina. Oregon, big weekend Oregon had going to Maryland. Going to be a lot of runs scored there. Kansas and TCU, and then we throw it over to the other side. Mississippi State, Alabama. Southern Miss at Texas State. LSU at Auburn. It's a big one. Vandy at Oklahoma. UC Irvine. Arizona hosted Oklahoma State. Oregon State at Cal State floated. So, TJ, I throw it over to you, man, to the first slide here of games series. What you looking at?
Yeah, I mean, Tennessee, Ole Miss. I'm really happy that Ole Miss is hitting the out of the ball tonight because tomorrow there's a big or Friday, obviously. There's a big matchup that I'm looking forward to. Two pitchers that we featured a couple times here going head to head. And I just think that if Ole Miss I just believe in baseball that if sometimes you can overdo it in a game by scoring too much, and that means that you'll carry that into the next game where your bats will go cold because everything always seems to even out in baseball. That's the way it is, right?
Yep.
So really looking forward to that series. And then you got Arkansas, Georgia, the home run derby.
You're right.
Gonna get into that. And Coastal Carolina really needs that series they got against Georgia State here. They need a big bounce back. Looking forward to, like you said, Oregon, Maryland. That's going to be lots of runs in that. And Oregon, wow, they've been really slipping lately. So they need that series just as much as, anybody else there. Then LSU, Auburn. Auburn's really coming in cold. LSU's real hot. So going to probably take advantage of that there. And the other one I want to touch on was Southern Miss, Texas State. Southern Miss has that pitcher I really like, JB Middleton, and Texas State really struggles on Friday. So take advantage of that there.
Good eye, dude. Good eye indeed. And what's interesting? We're going to talk more, trends and stuff. But yeah, I mean, mid-May is when this thing ends, right? At least the regular season. I mean, there's plenty more in terms of the postseason, but you're going to start seeing these big teams. They're going to start taking these midweek games seriously because they're going to matter because you're starting to see how, conferences are forming, and we don't have 12 different big conferences, right? Like, look at the alignment. We got Stanford going to Clemson. You know what I mean? Like, all these games are going to matter. Obviously, your conference play record, is what puts you up there on top. But again, these teams that find themselves, we'll talk more about it, but teams that kind of find themselves on a little bit of the bubble, right, dude? That can absolutely matter, man. So I'm with you. Lots of big series coming up this weekend. LSU, Auburn. That's going to be a war. Auburn coming off a big weekend. LSU coming off a massive weekend there. Dude, UCLA, we'll talk more about them. Not that Washington's all that good, but UCLA's on an absolute tear, man. Them boys aren't playing around. And then we'll see what Alabama does against Mississippi State. I got a feeling Alabama bounce back nicely. All right, so that is kind of the start of the weekend, but we can start on the mound, dude. All right. So the bump, throwing it over you, bro. Break it down. What you got?
Okay, cool. We got a new guy to add to the bump today. So Trey Beard, not just a cool name, he's a good pitcher. Florida Atlantic, 5-0, 3.18 ERA with 74 Ks. He's got an opportunity this weekend where he's going up against Memphis on Friday. Memphis does struggle on Friday, so it's a big opportunity here. If we can get this on the books, I would bet and back Florida Atlantic. I think you're going to get a good number as they're 12 and 20 on the season. So might be something that you'll need to parlay, but that's what I like to do here. At least find something that we can piece and put together. Okay, then next matchup here, you got the matchup I was talking about. You got Hunter Elliott going up against Liam Doyle. Liam Doyle's coming off of that no hitter, which is amazing. I mean, but sometimes here that's what makes me hesitant. Maybe he'll come in with a hot head here. So I'm a little bit hesitant to pick a side here, but considering these two pitchers with those ERAs and can really pitch are going against each other, it's another opportunity here where we might want to make sure we don't take it over here. And I might be taking the under on a Friday as long as the number is good. But yeah, other than that, don't really want to touch too much on Liam Doyle's no hitter, but just want to say how amazing it is that he's almost 2 on the season. So, I mean, I know in college you don't really get to go the full game, so that's just what it is. But
well, bro, I'll give you the credit on that. You've been ripping them like, dude, for a guy that's got basically 2. I mean, in the first one, I think there were like 4 or 5 pitchers, that came in because they don't want to, obviously burn his arm. But yeah, dude, like you've been all over this, man. That Friday game between Hunter Elliott, Liam Doyle, Tennessee at Ole Miss. It's going to be a war, dude, because look, Tennessee threw a no-hit. Look, I'll tell you how crazy this past week 8 of college baseball was. I'll tell you how crazy it was. Liam Doyle on Friday night throws a no-hitter against Texas A&M, 7 innings, run rule them, right? Just beat their ass. Tennessee lost the next 2. Got whooped, right?
And that's what I'm talking about with that stuff in baseball where things always even out. The numbers always work out to be what they're going to be at the end of the year. So if you have a guy having a really hot day or a team, more than likely the next game, they may not piece it all together because it's hard to do that for 2-3 games, right? So take advantage of those opportunities too when you see that. But 100%, I get you there. I saw that they lose the next 2, and maybe they woke up A&M.
But they might have, man. They might have indeed. And, you bring up a good point. Like, talk about it's a ping pong sport, man. Like, it's a back and forth affair. Like, what you see one day, a lot of times it flips. Same thing with the weekends, right? So I think that's a perfect segue. Nice work, Nice work by you right there on the pitching. Team leaderboards. Again, Georgia, just absolutely, man. And look, we'll talk about Georgia here in a second, too. Now, they didn't have themselves a good weekend at all. But, dude, 92 bombs on the year. Tennessee with 80. All right, Georgia's starting to separate themselves from everybody in regards to this. East Tennessee State, which is not far from Knoxville, all right, Tennessee, they've got 75. All right, Arkansas's got 74, and Kansas has 74 bombs on the year. Then you flip it to the other side here, team ERAs. Western Kentucky takes the top spot, man, 2.67 team ERA. Texas, who is playing unfriggin' believable baseball right now, all right, 3.06 ERA on the year. Tennessee falls from 1 to 3 at 3.07. Coastal Carolina, 3.32. And then Vanderbilt jumping to the top 5, man, with a 3.37 ERA. So first off, our man Roger said, hey, Roger, that's you, bro. That's you, man. Indeed. TJ, I thought of you, man. What do you see here? What stands out?
Yeah, I mean, Georgia there with 92 going up against Arkansas, like we touched on a little bit. They got some big boppers. I think Zaborski and then Burnett both have 15 home runs each with 51 RBIs. Like that's what a season already for those two. And then Arkansas does it as a team. I think they have like 6 guys over 9 home runs or 7 guys. So they do it really as a team. They have 2 guys at 12. So lots of hard hitting there. And East Tennessee sticking in with us, not falling off.
I know, man. East Tennessee State, dude.
Impressed.
Yeah, dude. Like they can mash, man. Absolutely mash. And the interesting part, if anybody, looks up stats, right? Look up Georgia and look up how many batters they have hit by pitches. It is unreal. I don't even know how it's possible, right? But to the point of it, the same thing that Arkansas does, they don't hit solo bombs. It's like, beer league softball, right? Where it's like, don't hit solos. We only have 4 to work with. You know what I mean? They don't hit solos, dude. Like they've always got guys on base. Arkansas draws a lot of walks, right? So you start seeing these teams, man. If you are live better and you start seeing it early that, Arkansas or Georgia, they might not have hits yet, but they're getting dudes on base. They generally, they might leave them in the first inning or 2. They generally don't for the full game. It starts working out for them. So getting on base, man, very, very important there. So those are our team leaderboards there. Coming in hot. All right. So what we use this for is, yeah, it's a ping pong sport for sure, but a lot of these teams stay consistent, right? I mean, I think Arkansas has been on this list like the entire year. You know what I mean? So we look to see and identify teams that are playing good baseball, take a look at their opponent, and just kind of jot down, right? Like, is this a team that has a really solid, advantage possibly for this weekend that we could bet, right? Or they might not. And I'll give you the perfect example. I mean, Arkansas, number 1 team in the country, right? Went 4-0 last week at number 7, Georgia. Okay. Now, Georgia, we'll talk about them in a second. They had a horrible weekend, but Georgia's at home, right? And needing it. In this sport, also, it's a lot like Major League Baseball. Like, dude, teams don't go undefeated. You know what I mean? Like, you have losing weekends, and I'll show you here in just a second. Is this the weekend where Arkansas just doesn't have it? Or do they keep showing up, right? So that's kind of what we use this for. So that's going to be a tough series either way. Texas, number 2 in the country. They went 3-1 last week. They're at Kentucky. That could be nice. LSU, 3rd in the country. They went 4-0. At number 11, Auburn, we talked about. Number 4, Clemson, went 4-0 last week. At home against Stanford. And then number 6, Ole Miss. We just talked about them. They went 3-1 last week and hosting number 5, Tennessee. So what stands out to you, man? What do you see?
Yeah, Texas against Kentucky. They're coming off a great series against Georgia last weekend. But not only that, Kentucky has lost 5 of their last 5 wins and 10 losses in their last 15. Sorry. They've been really struggling. Almost as bad as I was to struggle to get those numbers out. So
Kentucky's falling off. Like, first off, that's funny.
They really have. They really have.
It's their pitching.
Go ahead, keep going. No, you're 100% right. That's what I was gonna say. It's really just been that they've been hitting, and like that's why it's a great over series, I believe, because they can hit, but they're pitching, which is what we were looking at before earlier in the year when you liked them. I believe you were saying like, that pitching staff's holding them in games, and they're just not doing it anymore. Yeah. And then I'll just add quick that Clemson, wow, like they've really surprised me, and I need to start betting on them.
They're a good team. And they're going to be playing teams that aren't bad. I mean, Stanford, not a bad baseball team at all, but Clemson can do it all, man. They've got arms, they've got bats, they're well coached. Got the guy from Michigan, who built Michigan into a little bit of a power, and then he took off to Clemson, right? Yeah, dude. Like, speaking about Kentucky, their arms could only hold on for so long, right? And then it's tough because not only did it like even out, it bottomed out, right? They're just giving up runs. Like, we started to see it towards the tail end, of the staff and, their bullpen. And then it just became everybody. Their starters were getting lit the hell up. And then they started hitting, right? But it just wasn't, it's great if you score 8 runs a game. If you're giving up 12, like, it ain't going to help you too much, man. But yeah, we got some nice ones here. Arkansas, Georgia, obviously, Texas, Kentucky, like, that Ole Miss Tennessee, man, that one's going to be a good one. But looking at the opposite side of this, right? So the bounce back. And again, like, let me tell you, like, not you, but like this past week was wild as hell. Like, look at these teams, Tennessee. And again, they went 2-2. All right. It's not like it was horrible, but that's 2 out of 3 to Texas A&M. I don't know anybody else that's done that. Most teams been handling Texas A&M, right? And at home in Knoxville, right? So Tennessee goes from ranked number 1 in the country to number 5. Like we said, at number 6, Ole Miss. That's gonna be a series, boy. I'll say this. This is gonna be a series of 2 really fun hitting teams. Like Friday, Friday could be nothing. After that, it's gonna be a laser show, man. You're gonna see 2 teams in absolute mash. And remember, Tennessee took Ole Miss's 2 best players in the transfer portal, Andrew Fisher, right? Like, they got to go back. You know what I mean? And boys in Oxford remember it. So that one's going to be big. Look at Georgia, man. All right, 1-3. All right, just got whooped and have to host Arkansas. Number 12, Alabama goes 2-2. But, 2 of those 3 losses were on the weekend. They're hosting Mississippi State. And let me just say, Bama can hit in bunches, man. Like, We'll talk more about them, but I haven't lost faith in them. They're a good baseball team. They're just due to have a tough weekend. This is a team that I don't believe in. Oklahoma. I think Oklahoma is fake good. I think they're absolute slaw, bro. Like Dallas Baptist had their damn way with them last night. And don't get me wrong, Dallas Baptist is a good baseball team, but Oklahoma's been getting exposed, man. They're ranked 19th in the country. They went 1-3. They just got absolutely whooped. They're at home against Vanderbilt. Now, Vanderbilt can pitch and Vanderbilt can play defense. They can hit, but they haven't been doing it a lot lately. So if Oklahoma stays the same as what we've seen the last 7 to 10 days, all right, against Vanderbilt, you could see a lot of 4-2 games either way, right? So keep an eye there, man. You're going to get really low totals in those, especially on Friday. Absolutely. For anybody that's kind of brand new to it, if you're looking at totals, Friday, if I give you an average of 12, 11.5, Saturday is going to be 13.5. Sunday is going to be 15. And you know what I mean? Like it goes throughout the weekend. So if you're looking for your low totals, they're going to be on Friday. That Tennessee Friday game might be 10.5, 9.5. Like it's going to be super damn low, man. And then Dallas Baptist, look, Oklahoma got whooped by Dallas Baptist. Dallas Baptist ain't even ranked anymore. All right. They go 2-2 last week and they're at Jacksonville State. Please pray for Jacksonville State. Dallas Baptist, like Dallas Baptist is coming, man. So I throw it over to you. Like, what do you see right here?
Yeah, I mean, just to touch on the Tennessee one more time, I think maybe they just took a bit of a breath or like relaxed last weekend because strength of schedule, they've actually been, I know they had it easy at the start of the year, but as soon as it went conference play with that conference, I mean, it's not really anything like that you're going to get, but I think they just took a deep breath. So hopefully we can bounce back with Ole Miss. But like you said, they're playing great baseball too. So that might actually be the stay away. Scott's asking in the chat, what's the stay away for you this weekend? And I might just watch that series and see what happens. So
which one?
We'll see. The Tennessee Ole Miss.
Yeah.
Like I'm obviously watching Friday. I'm going to see what that number is because it was at 8.5 the last time we had a showdown on it against Florida. I think it was that low, right? On the Friday, It was 8.5.
Yeah, and you hit that. I think it is like 6 or 7.
Yeah, but I don't think I would take the under 8.5 Ole Miss Tennessee. I have a feeling that Ole Miss's bullpen will give up a little bit more than Florida will.
Let me tell you this. Yeah, no. Going off of that, let me tell you this. Tennessee's manager, all right, Tony Vitello. Look him up. Super young guy. Do not let that fool you. This dude is an old, hard-ass son of a gun. I'm not kidding. He is a very high-tense, high-stress type manager. He's cool and calm like he looks it, but like just Google gifts. Like he's old school, like Bobby Cox style, right? I guarantee it has not been fun for Tennessee players since Saturday. I would bet my last penny that it has been hell on earth. Now, I'm not saying that means like that they come out and whoop Ole Miss because Ole Miss is really good, but them boys gonna be swinging the bats. Let me just say that if you strike out, you're catching hell from drill sergeant. You know what I mean? Like he's gonna be on your ass. He'll have the red ass for sure. So yeah, like barring Friday, like that could be risky. But other than that, there are gonna be a ton of runs. The question that you said, Scott. Do you think the first Clemson-Stanford game is an under with Stanford traveling across the country? No, because Stanford needs to get it going. And I'm not saying that they do score a lot of runs, but I almost any other time, I would agree completely with your thought process because travel, absolutely big. But Stanford's going to go for broke. Now, that could mean a lot of strikeouts, right? Like, doesn't always mean it's going to be a lot of runs. But what that does is these are college kids, and it's a very emotions are palpable. You can feel them, right? And if Stanford comes out and scores early, Clemson might score 30. You know what I mean? Like it could be one of those just explosive. So no, normally I would say yes on an under with all that travel, but in this spot, it feels like Clemson is just a firecracker, and you get anywhere close to it, and they're going. You know what I mean? It does not take much to light that match. So I like your thought process there. If you had to pick one stay away series, what series would it be? I'll tell you what, let me bring this back up real quick because I can tell you where there could be trouble. Vanderbilt, Oklahoma, if you're looking for a lot of runs, be careful. There could be, right? Like that's the problem, is that both of these teams are unbelievably dying to just rack up runs, and they can do it. But they haven't. Like it's either going to be 4-2 or 18-12. You know what I mean? So keep an eye on Friday. Watch that one. UC Irvine is on absolute fire right now. I believe in them. I believe in Oregon State. I believe in UCLA. Florida State. Florida State is not playing good right now. Their pitching staff is giving up way too many walks, and they've been relying on hitting, and that's been great, but it hadn't been working. They just lost to Florida, right? After getting absolutely worked over the weekend. And let me tell you this, Virginia Tech will whip your ass. They are not a BS baseball team one bit. Keep an eye there. And I'll tell you one that's going to be fun is Louisville and NC State. Both these teams can score a ton of runs. So that one's going to be fun. Yeah, like Florida State, Virginia Tech, be careful. That one feels like that could be explosive. TJ, anything that you see on here that stands out in regards to Scott's question?
Yeah, I agree with you with the Florida State. I have them as one of my teams, and yeah, they're struggling right now. Virginia Tech is a really good team, and I just think that's a stay away for this weekend to see what happens. That Kansas TCU series. I think that could be a good series for over.
Yeah.
Both those teams are going to be playing for that rank spot. I think this weekend. Whoever wins the series probably comes out with ranked, and the other team doesn't. So we'll see what happens there. Exciting to see that one too.
Yep, I'm with you, man. I'm with you. So, yeah, hopefully that helped. Big Zach, good to see you, buddy. Good to see you. Roger, college, I'll mostly profile the highest scoring teams and daily figure out what overs to take. You know what? I'll tell you what. I'm going to give you some info on that right now, Roger, because number one, you're my guy. And number two, I like the way that you think. Let me pull these slides up so I'm not just bouncing them off right here. Under the radar series. Okay. Make sure DraftKings or none of them are watching. These series, I don't know if your books are going to give them to you. Okay. We never know. However, I'll put all these slides in the Discord. Keep this one with you, because if the books screw up and give you any of these series in a low total, I will be right beside you hammering the red ass out of all of them. Number one, George Mason at VCU. Look it up. George Mason, one of the top 10 teams in the country at scoring runs. Their ass will put it all over you. Home, road, the moon. They don't care, dude. George Mason can rip. George Washington at Dayton. George Washington score a little bit. George Washington give up a ton. And Dayton, let me tell you this. If you, and I say you, I mean all of us, if you have not seen a Dayton game this year, Dayton can score 20 runs and Dayton can give up 20 runs in the same game. They can cover the damn over of any of it by themselves, right? So pay attention. Again, it's got to be pretty rare if we get a George Washington at Dayton. But I'm telling you, books will screw up on some of these. I promise you. And they'll offer you something that they have no business or idea doing that, and we'll hammer it together. St. Bonaventure at Rhode Island. St. Bonaventure is one of the worst teams in the country in regards to giving up runs. One of the worst. Rhode Island, go look tonight. Go look Rhode Island the last 5 weeks. Rhode Island's the top 15 team in the country at scoring runs. They're like East Tennessee State. People have no idea who they are. And people that do are like, no. This team is no BS. Like we were saying about East Tennessee State when they went and played Tennessee and out home runned them in Knoxville. We're like, yeah, this team is legit. Rhode Island's like that. They could score on anybody. So if you get a St. Bonaventure at Rhode Island, yeah, keep an eye there. High Point at Longwood. I don't know if we'll get this one. If you get a High Point at Longwood, if the total is anything under 31.5, take it. Like, go look it up. I assure you. And then one that we will get, Indiana at Illinois. The books probably will not give us a total under 15.5. But these are two good teams, and these two teams that can score and they can give up runs. But keep this slide with you. TJ, I know you're huge on High Point baseball, man. Anything you see here?
Nothing really that I can see that I want to touch on majorly. I do want to say though, Indiana, I do believe, unless it was Illinois and I'm wrong, was on this list last week, whoever they were playing. And I did go back to this and utilize it. So this is great information. Make sure when you're putting in your bets and stuff, you're pulling up these slides and double checking. It's always nice for a reminder. Helped me last weekend because I was up early getting some stuff done, and then later in the day, didn't really have too many bets in, was looking at something and was like, oh, I got to get something going, utilize this. So there you go.
Yeah. Like, and I agree. Like, I do the same thing. You know what I mean? Like, looking to say, okay, all right, did they give us this? Did they give us this? Did they give us this? Like, I implore anybody, like, go do the work. Cause like, I'm not saying these teams are good. I'm saying that like these are matchups to where both are conducive to scoring just in an ass ton of runs to be professional. That's a very good metric that you want to use right there. So yeah, mark these and we'll put all these in the Discord here. Now, going off of that and kind of with Roger, what you're saying, TJ, our trends of note. So TJ, we go through here and we take a look at just some random quirks and different things that could help us, or maybe not. Texas, they've yet to lose a weekend series this season. Like, they just keep going, right? And with Texas games, like they're not super exciting. Like, Texas games are kind of like Arkansas last year. Arkansas would just beat you 7-3, 7-3. Like, they were brutal. Like, they were a lot like Houston. Arkansas, like Houston basketball, to where Arkansas would say, we could score a lot of runs, but we really don't have to because we know your ass ain't scoring nothing. You know what I mean? They just had, just MLB pitcher, like just good luck. Like you weren't getting hits, right? Texas is not quite like that. They can hit. Ask LSU, but dude, I mean, Texas is on absolute fire, like absolute fire. Now, speaking of LSU is undefeated in midweek games this year and Friday games. They've only lost, I think, 3 or 4 games on the year, and they've been on either a Saturday or a Sunday. So you want to find now, it's pretty tough to play LSU midweek because you got to play -5.5 or something, right? But they've won every midweek game. They've won every Friday game. UCLA won 15 of its last 17 games. They can play. They're scoring runs. They don't give up a ton. They score more than you think. And weather out West Coast has had a lot to do with that too, because we've seen Southern Cal. And even UC Santa Barbara, like run production in Southern California has picked up, and the weather's a big part of it. Look at this one, bro. Arkansas. All right. We talk about series season openers, usually on Friday, but they had one that was on a Saturday because of weather. It was a Saturday, and a Sunday. So the normal Friday, right? In 3 straight series on the weekend, game 1, they've won a combined 42-5. Bro, and look at the teams that they were beating. Vanderbilt was one of them. 42-5 on their, quote, Friday game, right? 42-5. And we're in conference play. Like, it is, you said it. Home run derby, Arkansas is on fire. And then finally, here's the weirdest quirk. Okay, this is going to read weird because I ran out of space, okay? Yeah. So in 3 straight weekends, right? Play 3 games in a weekend, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So 3 straight weekends, Georgia Tech has won a game where they scored exactly 18 runs. Well, I think one was a Friday, one was a Saturday, the next one was a Saturday, right? But in 3 straight weekends, like, I mean, there's no significance to it, but number one, Georgia Tech can score. That's the biggest point, right? But number 2, 18 runs is a lot, like in conference play, and they've done it. They've put 18 up in a game in 3 straight conference, games. So I throw it over to you, man. What do you see out of this? What stands out?
Yeah, I'm glad you explained that one. Not gonna
Yeah,
lie.
I know it's really weird. Yeah.
But yeah, no, something about this that I just touch on is Texas with the weekend series. It reminded me of something I was doing last year that for some reason I haven't been applying to my betting, which is I've actually been targeting two teams that tend not to lose weekend series, matching them up in money line parlays as long as it's not like minus 500 where you're not going to get a good number, and attack it that way. Bet it, maybe lose one out of the two on the weekend, maybe get the sweep. But it was something where I was finding success last year. Nice to get a reminder on something I was doing.
That's
I know
smart.
that
That's smart.
I know everybody has that happen. Nobody wants to ever admit it, but everybody gets all these strategies in betting, and sometimes you're just like, oh, I forgot I used to do that. Like that's one of them. Read that today and was like, sweet, thank you. And then yeah, there's a lot of great information here that you can use towards like Friday betting and what you're going to do on Saturday to attack. Like obviously, we're going to use LSU and money lines when they're minus 700 because they're not losing on Fridays anyway. So use that, even though it's a horrible number. It's just little things like that where you need to come back and check these. And yeah, Arkansas, that's unreal. That's crazy.
I know they're just whipping people's ass, dude. And like, it's one thing if you have one of them, right? Like if you're just scoring a bunch of runs because you're Indiana State, right? Okay, I get it. But 42-5, they're also not letting your ass score either. And it's college baseball. When you score a lot of runs, you tend to give them up too, because who cares? You're up 13-1 in the 8th. Like,
yeah, the defense has been in the dugout too, right? So I mean, like that when you have rallies, it tends to hurt your defense a little bit, especially younger guys. That's like not in the majors. They're not going in there being like, oh, I've been in here 20 minutes now. I'm going to play that defense. But the younger guys, they're chatting. They're maybe not talking about baseball. Oh,
you're talking about
what are you doing tonight?
Whose
What's
girl
going
is out
on?
there in the
Yeah,
stand?
right.
That's
Exactly. We know the bench chatter, and sometimes that can ruin games for guys.
Yeah. Well, Tennessee last year, the last 2 years, you get a home run, you get a fur coat and a daddy hat. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it ain't a major league deal. But no, man, like that Arkansas one is crazy. UCLA again. We'll go ahead and talk about it here with our rotations. But UCLA is a team nobody's really paid attention to. And again, let me preface: the West Coast weather, specifically Southern California, has been like Southeast weather. Down here, it's been hot, muggy, wind up, like mashing. You know what I mean? So that's helped, but they're a really good baseball team, man. So pay attention there, and we'll talk more about them this coming weekend. Now, all right, those are our trends of note. We just went through the under the radar series. Let's get into our rotations here. So TJ, throw it over to you, buddy. What you got?
Yeah, so Florida State, they've been struggling. I mean, like we were talking about before, they lost 2 to Wake Forest, and I'm obviously just a little bit worried about them coming up into the next series against Virginia Tech. They're 22-10, so really good team. But one thing that we'll focus on here about Florida is that they're giving up almost 5. Florida State, sorry, they're giving up almost 5 runs a game. So could utilize that for the overs if they're giving up the runs and almost scoring 8 themselves. Looks good. I like LSU against Auburn this weekend, mostly because Auburn has lost 6 of their last 10 games, and they come into it struggling. LSU, like you were talking about, AB only has 3 losses. Those are on Saturday and Sundays, and I really think that Auburn has struggled, obviously, on Saturday and Sundays in the last week or two, so we'll take advantage of that there. Tennessee, Ole Miss, going to enjoy this one. Take advantage of watching Tennessee and a sweet pitching matchup. But I do think that they will take the series this weekend. I think that Friday night, the pitching will be great and there won't be too many runs, but then the bats will come alive and maybe we can jump on some overs, obviously something around like the 12.5, 13.5. You can see Tennessee doesn't give up too many runs, but Ole Miss does score a bunch. So we'll see what happens there. Someone's got to give. There's going to be some kind of give and take there that's going to happen. And then Vanderbilt, Oklahoma, I think I agree with AB 100%. I think Vanderbilt has a great weekend against Oklahoma. I don't think they're as good as their record shows. I think they've had a not easy schedule, but if you really look at it, they've struggled against actual good teams and have had a lot of success going up against lesser teams. I think they actually have 2 of their losses against teams not ranked in the top 100. And then Oregon, they get Maryland this weekend. They need it. Big bounce back. Going to be probably on overs, team total overs for Oregon, stuff like that. I like that when this is what I like about Oregon. Like they're 22-9. That means you're going to get them in series against teams like Maryland, which is nice because sometimes you don't get that against, like, if you got Vanderbilt, Maryland, you're probably going to get Vanderbilt minus 1,000, something you can't play, 6.5. So that's why I like Oregon. I'm going to utilize them. I think they're a really good team. And I don't want to bump them off, even though, they were 2-2 last week and they're coming on the bounce back. And I think I obviously missed a week, but the week before that, they were on the bounce back. But I believe in this team and I like betting on them. So there's strategies you can use there for this team. It might not just be that they're going to win because they do lose some games, but they do score a lot of runs. So that's how we're going to utilize Oregon. Just utilize those overs and team totals. Don't be trying to snake a weekend series like I was just talking about with Texas. That's not going to happen.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you this, man. If you're a team that's looking to get them bats rolling, playing Maryland's good. And that's not a shot at Maryland. They just give up runs, but they'll score stuff too. Like they're going to force you to get out of that just kind of lull.
They got some bangers on that team. They got two guys in the top 20 in home runs in Maryland, which I saw. I was surprised by that. I mean,
yeah, that was not a shot at Maryland baseball. Like they're fantastic. Like what I like about them is they're a catalyst team. Like a lot of times, man, like baseball, I'll say this, and this works in Major League Baseball and it works in college baseball too. A lot of times, like when you're playing specifically overs, when you get runs in the first inning or even the threat, like once you get that first run, and if it comes early, it forces the other team to just throw away, the thought process of like, all right, let's work every count. Let's, work the pitch count up. Let's get to the bullpen. Screw it. We got to mash. Let's go. You know what I mean? And Maryland, like, that's why I say it. It's not a negative on them at all. I love this Maryland baseball team, but they're a catalyst team. They'll spark it. And, they'll give up runs too, right? But I like a team that says, screw it. Like, we're getting it going early. Florida State was a team like that. And be careful, like, fading them as well. I know we talked about that series. When the bats come back, which they will, they'll come back in a massive, massive way, right? So I agree with you. This could be the best thing that Oregon has, going up against a team like that, just kind of get you back, get that rhythm going. All right, so my rotation, look, I'm not taking Dallas Baptist out. They didn't have the best. Oh, look, I mean, they played Western Kentucky, right? Like, Western Kentucky's a good baseball team. We've talked about them a lot. DBU's 21-11. I ain't giving up on them. Look, they're scoring nearly 9 runs a game, giving up 5. They're a good over team to play. They went 2-2 last week. Florida State, you already talked about it. Look, it's baseball. It ain't gonna be perfect. Now, then bats do need to get going, and that pitching staff. Here's the thing: when those bats start going, and we're not saying that you got to bet Florida State, bet overs, because once the bats come back, they're gonna score a lot, but that pitching staff might not come back to what it was. I'm not saying it's bad. It just might not be top 3 elite. You know what I mean? So that's not, keep an eye on the runs per, like, this is why we put it on here. Keep an eye on those runs per game and the runs per game allowed. Because if you start seeing both go up, right, you might catch it before the books do. And you might find some really, totals that you can play. Georgia, look, man, they ran into a buzzsaw. Georgia's been that buzzsaw, right? They ran into it against Texas. Georgia's 30-5. They're still averaging 10 runs per game, allowing 4.8. Dude, I'm not concerned. Like, they'll get it going. This team is built on just pure aggression and aggressiveness. Like, I like that. They went 3 last week. I don't care. Alabama, again, they're 28-6, and no one talks about them. No one talks about them at all. You know what I mean? Averaging 8.5 runs per game. Look at that. 4.8 runs per game allowed, right? Went 2-2 last. A lot of my teams are the same. Like, and I try to find those teams that you can really hit on that can score runs, but also give them up. Look at UCLA, 26-6, 9 runs per game that they allow, 4.7. Look at 5.3, 4.8, 4.8, 4.8, 4.7, right? Like, it kind of fits a mold. And that's why I like this rotation, because as the season goes, you start to see what kind of a better that you are. right? Like, are you a guy that like looks at this and you put your rotation together of like, okay, I'm playing these teams money line, or I'm playing these teams run lines, or I like playing these teams because they, it's a lot of overs, right? So you start to kind of see how it breaks out. But I like these teams. I'm a fan of them, man. Like I'm not concerned about them having bad weekends. It's a long season, man. That's how it's going to be. So those are our rotations, and that's basically it, my boy. Any final thoughts, Teach, before we get out of here, man?
Yeah, it's going to be a great weekend of baseball. Really looking forward to that Friday matchup. Not going to miss it, but hopefully, I'm obviously looking forward to being off and having a long weekend and getting to watch the Masters.
There you go. Hey, you've earned it, my boy. You've earned it indeed, man. All right, everybody, you all have earned it as well. And thank you so much for all the support that you give and everything that you do. We'll be live Thursday morning, Friday morning, Saturday morning, normal time, 10 a.m. Eastern. So till then, everybody, best of luck. Let's cash these tickets. Get Teach. We'll see y'all here in just a little while. Thanks. Who's got it better than us? No!